So welcome back. If y'all watched my last review video on the Bluetti AC200 MAX, I promised y'all I was going to do an update. Whenever we're starting to talk units in this expandable capacity and in this price range, I think it's only fair but to revisit and do a little bit more long-term tests. That way you can know if what you're spending your money on is truly worth it. And that gives me time and opportunity to see, did I have any problems, experience any issues, things I do like, things that I don't, and we're going to pass that information along to you so you can make an informed decision. So today what we're going to be focusing on is, can I run my shop around the clock? And keep in mind, my shop is 1,500 square feet. I have a deep freezer in it. I have actually two deep freezers now that I think about it. I have a full-size refrigerator. I have a 5,000 BTU window unit that runs. We run lights in a room like this, fans, all kinds of stuff. So I'm actually going to have this unit pretty close to max out at times on its 2,200 watt output. Now through the night, I typically run 300 to 600 watts, depending on if that AC is engaged or not. Everything else is strictly keeping my refrigerators and freezers running. So there's a lot of appliances that'll be in this test. But what I'm trying to determine, when you start talking about units this size with the adaptability, and by adaptability I mean the AC200 MAX, you can add on up to 2 additional batteries. That's kind of what I'm focusing on in this test right here. I have a B230 battery right here, which gives me an extra 2,000 watt hours of capacity. You can even add a second one of these to this unit. The unit itself has 2,000 watt hours of capacity. Or Bluetti did something pretty awesome. They give you the option to run their B300 battery on this unit for an extra 3,000 watt hours capacity, and you can double that up. So you're talking up to, what would that be, about 8,000 watt hours of capacity you can build this unit out to. So there's going to be some conversion losses with this unit based on how you pull power through it, convert from battery through the inverter out to, well, we're going to run my shop with this generator transfer switch right here. So keep that in mind. Whenever I say I have 4,000 watt hours capacity, you actually have less because of some conversion losses. So we'll keep this relatively sweet. We've already did a review on this particular unit. If you want to check that out, I'll have it down in the description or at the end of this video. But let's test the capacity. Let's run this all night long. We're also going to plug it into solar. It's early in the day. So I'm going to let this run for many days until I either run out of power, if it gets cloudy, or till I experience an issue, because I can see a lot of people purchasing this, especially to run like campers, RVs, or home backup during hurricanes, blizzards, things like that, and you may run it around the clock. And the fact that you can build these out up to 8,000 watt hours of capacity, you really do have the opportunity to allow this to kind of be a backup solution or run a shop like this. But again, I can really see it being for campers and RV type people, van camping, things like that. So for starters, I have a special plug here. This is a TT30P. P stands for pronged, and it goes to an L1430. That's your standard generator plug. There is a jumper in here that will send the 120 volts off of one of these legs right here to 2 prongs on this. Long story short, that allows me to use a generator transfer switch like this that's set up for 240 volts, but I'm going to send 120 volts to either side because this is a single phase 120 volt unit. And that's okay, because everything in my generator transfer switch right here is all 120 volt outlets in the shop. All my 240s are still in my main panel. So let's plug that in down there. Use a standard 30 amp generator plug. Plug that in up here. I haven't flipped any switches. Let's connect the battery to the main unit. All right, so if you take a look on the side of the unit, one thing I really do love that Bluetti has done with this battery, you have all kinds of ports. So you can actually take this battery and carry it with you tailgate and camp and things like that. Run a 12 volt fridge. I like that they've made the battery to where it can be away from the unit and still actually be usable. But the main port we're concerned about right here is this one, and one of the 2 on the main unit. Again, you can add up to 2 batteries to the main unit. So we're going to take this nice plug that comes with the battery, plug it in. It has a lock. Plug it in down here. And I talked about this in the review video. One of the things I don't like is how far this cable right here sticks out. I wish it was a little more compact. Maybe that's something that can be addressed in the future. So we'll power the battery on right here, power the main unit on up front, and we need to plug in solar too. So as y'all can see, this is my little testing room right here. We test all kinds of equipment on the channel. So you're gonna hear some noises and other things going on in the background. But right here on the side of the main unit, there is a little cap that you unscrew and you plug in the cable that comes with the unit for DC charging. And they happen to have a second adapter included that plugs right into this for solar. So coming in from outside, I actually have a 1200 watt solar array. Now this unit's only rated for 900 watts, but I'm gonna do what's called over paneling. Actually send more wattage to this because this is a smart unit and it will only bring in 900 watts. What I really have to watch is this unit's rated for up to 145 volts. Well, we have around 138 volts coming in, and it takes up to 15 amps max of solar charging. We're currently at 10 amps on this line right here. So really the voltage and the amperage is what you're consistently wanting to watch. So we're gonna plug this into that cable I just hooked into the side, and now we have solar power. It's very cloudy outside today, so this is gonna swing wildly, but you can see we have 313 watts on that panel right now. And as soon as the clouds break, I guarantee you this will go up to the 900 watt maximum in no time. All right, so you can see we're outputting nothing on this plug. That's because we have to start flipping these breakers up into the generator position on my transfer switch here. By the way, I have a video on the channel showing how I installed this. So I'm gonna do this really slowly, starting with my heaviest load, which is my processing room. It has all the compressors and everything else. All those kicking on at the same time could be literally thousands of watts, so hopefully that doesn't happen or we'll have to unplug them. All right, with that room flipped on, it went up to about 400 watts. Now it's settled back out at 130. What that's telling me is there's only one compressor over there running right now, but that'll fluctuate anywhere from 300 to 600 watts throughout the day and night. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and flip over to the rest of all these, and then we're gonna start our test and let this thing run around the clock. Alright, so as you can see, solar has maxed out 917 watts. You can hear my own wall inverter ramped up too because my other solar array is pumping right now. It's super bright outside. The sun has come outside the clouds. So we're going to keep this maxed out at different times throughout the day. Wattage is going to swing anywhere from 300 to at times probably 1,000 watts. It's also like 88 degrees today, quite warm. So this should be a good test. Let's let this thing run around the clock and let's see if we run into any issues, and if we do, we'll get that information out to you. All right, so it has been several days later, maybe a whole week. I forgot to log the first day I started this test, but a week sounds about right. I have went through cloudy days, hot days, cool days, sunny days, everything you could possibly think of. So let's talk about the good and any bad that I may have found with this long-term test. I thought a week test would be sufficient because that's probably more than long enough to show any potential problems with a unit like this for people that are camping, using it in an RV or camper or van, things such as that. Or if you're using it kind of like I did as a backup solution for a home. Maybe you got hit by a storm, grid, power outages, things like that. Typically, most of them don't last more than a week. So some of the good, again, by far, listen. This is the quietest unit I have ever tested. Even whenever I had it fully ramped up with a lot of power going out, major solar going in, well, the loudest thing honestly is the charging brick. Whenever I have to use that, the fan on this is louder than this unit. Okay, we're maxing out on solar right now, and this is as loud as the fan gets. I mean, nothing. You can have an easy conversation over this. So with that said, I highly recommend this unit for people that are placing it inside of RVs or campers or things such as that where noise may really bother you. Again, super quiet. Love that. All right, so the other good, not a single trip this week, not a single overload, no overheating, nothing. Again, this has been running probably a week straight and it's cool to the touch. So I'm really happy to see that. I was curious if I was gonna run into any issues. So no power downs, no issues, no problems. It's just ran. All right, kind of the bad, at least for my situation. There's a few different times, either one, because it was cloudy, or two, because it was very hot overnight. So my AC was kicking off and on in my shop, pulling a lot of extra power, and I did not make it through the night, even with the extra battery. Now keep in mind, I'm running a full-size refrigerator out here. I'm running a full-size freezer. I'm running another deep freezer, but that one has been modified to a homemade ice maker. I probably should show you that. So what that means is that one is running a lot harder than your typical deep freezer and compressor does, because it's pulling water in it's turning it to ice, it's dumping it out, it's running heating elements in the ice makers, just pulling a lot of power. I also have 5,000 BTU window unit that the fan kicks off and on and runs. I have it programmed to do that, and then if it's hot enough like it was last week, the AC kicks off and on all through the night to keep that room with the appliances at a steady temperature. I also have Wi-Fi and internet routers out here running in the shop that's been pulling off of this. I charge camera batteries out here as well, and then occasionally throughout the night or early mornings I'll come out here and flip some lights on to feed the chickens and take care of a few things. So you're talking quite a bit of stuff that I attempted to run overnight. Now on the really hot nights where my AC was cycling off and on a lot, I couldn't quite make it to morning with this, and I would have to plug in that power brick right there to supplement charge this until solar came up. Now once solar come up and I was getting 900 watts like I am right now, no problems. I was able to charge this up quickly. Now the good news, on cooler nights like we experienced last night, well, it made it through the night just fine. The cooler the night, the less the appliances are going to be cycling off and on, and the less that window unit AC is going to be running. So your results are going to vary. If you were just going to run, say, one freezer, refrigerator, maybe a little fan through the night, or a CPAP, charge your phone, something like that, try to get you through a power outage, well, this would do it overnight, absolutely no problem. Same thing with kind of a van and RV. Now, if you're running a much larger camper AC unit, which would be probably about 3 times the size of my window unit, those pull quite a bit of power. Your results are going to vary. You may have to add a second battery to it, but that is the beauty of this system. You can build and add on the batteries as much as you need. I do feel like the efficiency of this unit's a little lower than some I've tested, and by that I mean the actual stored battery capacity. It has to go through conversions. It goes through inverters, for example, to get your 120 volt output. Well, there is conversion losses in that process, and it appears that the efficiency of this is maybe a little lower than some, so you're getting less capacity, stored capacity, converted to actual output power. I think that's another reason I'm seeing some of the drop there. Now again, a lot of that can be offset by the size of battery you add. You can either add a B230 extra battery to it, or that 300, which is even bigger than this one, or you can again double batteries up to help make up for some of that. The only other gripe that I mentioned in the last full review video, I'm not happy about this cable, how far it sticks out. I can see that being a problem for van and RV campers, unless you have a large area where you can kind of stick this. Again, it's not worth griping about too terribly much. Now at times I've run 1,1500 watts out of this whenever I'm out here in the shop working, fans running at my high bay lights, along with that room running. All right, this wasn't intended to be a full review. I told y'all a while back that I would do a long-term test. I think close to a week worth of running is more than enough time to tell me if I was going to have any overheating issues, any trips, any overloads, anything kicking off and on, and I've experienced absolutely none of that. It's been a bulletproof unit up to this point. I'll continue to run it, and if you have any questions or anything else you want me to test, by all means let me know. Links down in the description if you want to go check one of these out. I did not get paid to make this video, but if you do purchase through that link, I do get a small commission. That's how I earn a lot of my income doing what I do for a living. So I'd appreciate it if you'd use that link if you think you're going to purchase one of these. We'll catch you on the next video.